Hi, my name's Toby Kingsley and welcome to My Favourite Business Tools. First up, before we get started, grab yourself a pen, have a second computer or even have your computer online. Be ready to pause the video because we're going to go through the information quickly and rapidly because that's the best way. So, what are we going to look at today? We're going to look at bricks and mortar business efficiency tools. We're going to look at online business efficiency tools. We're also going to look at sole operator, coach and consultant efficiency tools. First up, the examples in this presentation will focus on the following areas of your business. We're going to look at operations, HR, training. Beyond that, we're going to look at marketing. We're also going to look at some online tools to save you time and make your business more streamlined. Now, these are the bricks and mortar tools. So first, in the operational section, we have mystery shopper programs. Now, a mystery shopper is where you have a bricks and mortar business, whereas you have customers that come into your business and buy a product or a service from you. And a mystery shopper program is where you set up a program to have someone come in and have the customer experience with your staff or your team and rate a review based on that experience. Now, a mystery shopper program, I've implemented them nationally with franchise companies. They are at times tricky to initiate and engage and put into place. If you do have the systems and strategies in place, they can be quite easy, and beyond that, the benefit you get from them massively outweighs the effort you put in the beginning. Also, we want to look at equipment service schedules and logs. So how often do we have to schedule our equipment that we have in the store? We want to look at monthly, weekly and daily checklists. It's all well and good for us to get to the end of the month, or actually I was speaking to a business owner the other day who does his P&L statements or profit and loss statements annually and then reviews his business. And imagine if you had a business that was running at a loss for a whole year and you only did a P&L annually, and you got to the end of the year and found out that, hey, I was losing X amount in this field and I didn't even notice for a whole year. So we look at having, what do we need to have in a checklist monthly, weekly and daily? Then we look at action plans, and it flows on naturally from daily checklists because we find out what's not working and what could be working better, and then we put it into an action plan. Trading area analysis, and this is why we're focused on the bricks and mortar business, because this is really looking at your surrounding area and how can we maximize on where we're located, what other threats do we have in our local area, meaning other businesses or barriers to business for ourselves. Next one is staff and manager reviews and development. So really looking at our team, because a number one problem for many businesses is that they hire people, put them in place, and it's just too much effort. They get taken, their attention and detail gets taken away to other tasks, and rather than looking at their actual team and are they performing at their optimum and should we replace them, they just leave them in place because it's easier to leave them in place. So we look at doing staff and manager reviews and development. Last is the tailored training programs. So how do we train our team, but not just how do we train them the way we think they want to be trained, but how do we train them in the best way for them to get the training? Now, the mystery shopper. This is an example, a screenshot of a mystery shopper that I put in place for a national franchise company. Now, the mystery shopper needs to focus on a few things. You need to determine, firstly, and you can write this down, what are the areas in your business that are the most important. Now, in this one, it was a food service business, so cleanliness was one of the top 3 important areas in this business. Second to cleanliness was customer service or customer experience. So we've got cleanliness and then customer experience. Thirdly, we look at sales. So how well are we selling the product? Now, for your business, you may want to expand beyond this. So you may want to look at positioning. You may want to look at distribution. You may want to look at marketing. For a mystery shopper, the important things to remember are when you put the program in place, who are you going to get to come and do the mystery shop and how much are you going to spend? Now, I've engaged companies that have been less than $12 for a person to come and do a mystery shop, and they do vary based on the service that you get and based on the amount of people that you're going to get, based on the number of businesses that you're going to get shopped. Obviously, the greater the businesses, the lesser the cost, because en masse it becomes cheaper. The other thing to remember when doing this program is, how do we weight or how do we grade the shopper program? So what are the most important areas in the business? What most impact our bottom line? Because let's face it, we get into business to make a profit, to make money. So what are we doing? What actions and what steps are we doing in our business that bring us the most income or bring us the maximum profit? And how do we capitalize on those areas? And also, how do we minimize the amount of loss in the areas that are most important to us? And that's how a mystery shopper comes into place. Now, we don't have time to go into writing a mystery shopper program. Of course, if you want to contact me privately, we can do that. We can put one in place tailored for your business. Equipment and service logs. Now, really, this is the area that gets little looked at until it's too little too late. And what I mean by that is, we all have equipment and services if we have a bricks and mortar business, that, not equipment and services, but equipment that needs to be put in place. And too often I see it not get serviced often enough, and then it fails and the business is in downtime. So it can't be 100% productive because they don't have their equipment up and running. So with this area, we need to look at, okay, what is it in our business that we need to have service regularly, and how regular is the optimal amount of servicing? Because we don't want to spend too much money servicing it too frequently, but then we don't want to leave it too long and have it break down. Next is daily checklists. This is formed by really looking overall at all the different positions in your business and thinking, okay, what do we need to do on a daily task? What's a daily task that we have to complete to get our job done? Beyond daily checklists, we also look at monthly, weekly, annually, biannually, and any other period you choose. A checklist is a very, very good reminder or a very good indicator of what you need to achieve in your business, and a good milestone for you to check in from a performance review perspective with your team to say, hey, because let's face it, if you're a business owner, you've come up through the ranks. If you were working in a business that wasn't your own, you probably worked up through the management level. If you had the business as your own, you probably worked up to become the CEO and the director. Either way, you know how quickly and how efficiently the tasks that comprise your daily, weekly, monthly workload get done. And when you move above that, you need to make sure that in a motivating way, that people that take the jobs that you leave behind with your natural progression get the tasks done. And this is one way to do that. Action plans. Action plans come from, and you know, in business and in life, people get a bit funny about negative talk, and this is not being negative, but action plans come from things that aren't working right. So what could be better in our business? What could be more efficient? What's a bit of the Achilles heel in our business? And that comes from having a really good hard look at what's not working. And then from there, you know, the age-old saying, any problem you come up with 3 solutions. So what's not working, but how can we solve it? What are 3 ways we can solve that problem? And this is what an action plan template looks like. Manager and team reviews. It's all well and good to have someone in our business that is doing a great job, but for some people, and actually more than most, we need to check in at scheduled periods through the year and give them reviews. Because people love to know the things they're doing well, and they also love to know the things they need to improve on. You know, we don't have to tenderfoot around the things that people need to improve on, because those people who are emotionally and spiritually evolved will be able to accept that you can say, okay, this is where you did great, this is where we need to work on, and overall this has been a really great period. So this is how these come into importance and into play. Trading area analysis. This is really looking into your area. And I think I mentioned this earlier, so I'm just going to move on. Next, let's look at some HR tools. We're going to look at, in this section, interview and recruitment systems, counselling forms, performance reviews, and termination forms. These are all things that aren't pretty, they're not glamorous, but they do make a difference if you don't get them right. I have worked for years in business, and I worked back in the day where companies could get sued or taken to court or litigated for not doing things right in terms of HR. And so this is where you need to be very careful. It doesn't matter if you're in a small business, medium business, or a large business. Interview systems. Before we even look at how do we manage someone when we hire them, let's look at how do we get the right people. Because one of the biggest headaches and heartaches for a business is the amount of time spent trying to make the employee work for the business. So before we even get an employee, let's look at how to get the right employee. Now, I'm not going to go into this here. I will tell you what I use and have used and have implemented into many businesses. This is one of the bonuses that you guys got as part of the program, is a killer strategy for interviewing top people. I'm going to go into an overview here. There's going to be a separate video that gives you all the information for this. As an overview, we really want to look at getting the right people. And how do we do that? This is through a very carefully constructed interview process. I love and have used for many years and taught tens, actually hundreds of employers, to use meta programs as an interviewing tool. And a meta program is looking at someone's unconscious filter for processing the world. So how do they unconsciously process the world? What do they naturally? They wake up in the morning and it's just like tying your shoelaces now, or parking your car. You don't even think about doing it. You just do it unconsciously. So what do they, from an unconscious perspective, look for in a job? What motivates them in a job? Are they more motivated towards people? Achievements? Do they like to be recognized in front of the whole team? Do they need a certificate? Or do they just simply need to know that within themselves, they did a good job? We're going to delve in the next video series further into meta programs and how do you use them for your business. Counseling forms. It's all well and good to think that it's always going to be happy families when we start a business, but quite often things don't go to plan. So how do we legally and correctly counsel someone? And not only just in the eyes of the law, but how do we make it most empowering for the person that we're counseling? Because let's face it, whenever we get told we're not doing something right, if we're told in a very poor and unproductive way, it just makes us even more unproductive. So how do we tell someone that makes them even more productive? And we're going to go into that later on. Performance reviews. One of my favorite tools is the performance review tool. When done right, this is an amazing tool. There's just one screenshot document on your screen just there. The actual tool that I took this screenshot from is 9 pages long. Termination forms. Now, this is an area not often looked at. But how do we terminate someone that legally safeguards us against litigation later on? I've been into umpteen businesses, given reviews, given recommendations, and taught this process. And too often, it's too late. Too often it's because people have kept employees for too long and needed to terminate them and not done it correctly. So this is where these forms and these processes come into play.